chaos, instability, and civil unrest.
Plus, face-off in court.
What you are doing to Mr. Nyakundi is wicked, is immoral.
When there's a death, in terms of manslaughter, inquest, murder, the environment is different from a person who has stolen a chicken.
Why Asa Nyakundi's lawyers oppose the DPP's move to drop manslaughter charges against him. And
in a very short time, there will not be a governor in Kiambu. The deputy governor will take over.
Commander Dialiuza extension ya Pangani Hospital.
A case of the pot calling the kettle black. The many hats worn by the DP and what to expect when male angels descend.
Shetani akijaribu kufika hapo karibu sunamwambia riswa.
It's Bullseye Friday.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome to the broadcaster. Sign language interpreter tonight is Rafael Mbalo. To our top story. Now, 41 officials from the Kenya Revenue Authority are behind bars over pending corruption allegations. They are among 80 individuals countrywide accused of colluding in a criminal enterprise meant to aid evading payment of taxes or reducing tax liability. The Director of Criminal Investigations has confirmed that the nabbed phones, electronic gadgets, and all servers will be taken through forensic analysis. Currently, 39 suspects are being hunted by the detectives, as NTV's Mel Miendo now reports.
The Kenya Revenue Authority is in a tight spot and is the latest government institution to be hit by allegations of corruption. 80 KRA officials are suspected to have been colluding in a criminal enterprise to evade tax payment and reduce tax liability for certain individuals. 62 are from the Domestic Tax Department, while 18 are from the Customs and Border Control Department. On Friday morning, 41 of them were arrested by DCI detectives. The raid, conducted at KRA's Times Tower branch and Samia Park along Mombasa Road, took up most of the morning, with all operations halted. No one was allowed in or out of both premises for close to 4 hours. Detectives confiscated phones, electronic gadgets, and seized servers for forensic analysis linked to employees in the two departments. Insiders at KRA who spoke to NTV say detectives roughed up all the employees and hurled them in a corner. No communication was allowed until the detectives left with the suspects. However, as NTV found out, there is more than meets the eye, with indications that the corruption rot in KRA begins with its top leadership. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Nurdin Haji, stated that the 41 arrested are officers in senior and middle-level management positions, adding that the criminal scheme has occasioned a reduction in tax collection by KRA. This was confirmed by insiders who say politicians are the worst culprits in paying taxes and have seemingly become untouchable because of the links with KRA's top management. DCI Director George Kinoti confirmed that the arrests were on individual culpability, but where there was a conspiracy, all involved will be arrested and arraigned. Investigations into operations at the Kenya Revenue Authority on alleged crimes by its staff and agents has been ongoing for the past 4 months. As seen by NTV, an affidavit sworn in court on 8th May 2019 by the lead investigator indicates that investigations focused on tax evasion, money laundering, abuse of office, as well as demanding and soliciting bribes. Furthermore, preliminary findings revealed that several mobile phones and other computing devices, including the KRA database system, were used in the commission of offences. Earlier on Friday, KRA interdicted 75 of its staff suspected of involvement in tax evasion and facilitating access to services through bribery and corruption. In a statement, KRA noted that the interdicted employees were accused of facilitating the irregular fraudulent clearance of cargo, fraudulent amendment of tax returns to help taxpayers evade taxes, and irregular issuance of tax compliance certificates. They have been detained for questioning and recording statements and will be duly arraigned. The KRA crackdown is countrywide, with more arrests expected. Mel Miendo, NTV.
Now, staying on matters graft, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops has raised its concerns over the increased use of political muscle flexing, terming it a hindrance in the fight against corruption in the country. Speaking in Nairobi on Friday, the church leaders accused the government of not doing enough in the fight against the vice, accusing them of failing to prosecute and sentence those stealing from public coffers. The leaders, I should say, also want politicians to focus on meaningful development and shun political bickering, as Eunice Omolo reports.
As the dark cloud of corruption continues to linger over the country, Kenyans have continued to show dissatisfaction with the war against graft in the country. The latest voice is the Catholic Bishops' umbrella body that has expressed its concerns over the seemingly untamable vice.
What is the government doing? Why are the culprits not being prosecuted and jailed? Where is the DPP? Where is the DCI? Where is the EACC? Why are these agencies not able to process watertight cases expeditiously?
The clergy highlighted the culture of greed that has turned the nation into a gambling state. They say there's more impunity than justice. The clerics condemned the move by lawmakers to get more in allowances, terming it as insensitive to Kenyans.
The huge wage bill that the Kenyan taxpayers support is too much. This unbearable burden is breaking the backs of the poor and the majority who live in the margins of society.
They further expressed the need for involvement of the youth and restoring their hope as a means of reducing the escalating cases of suicide and murder reported among the largest age bracket in the country.
It is obvious that a society where the young people are people seen to no hope and no future is doomed, and sooner or later will descend into chaos, instability, and civil unrest.
The Catholic bishops have also condemned the perennial political bickering that they say has slowed the development of the country, having a negative impact on national integration. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
Now, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says schools with poor infrastructure risk being closed down indefinitely due to health and safety concerns. This comes as pictures of pupils sitting on bricks in a submerged classroom in Ganze constituency went viral on social media. I'm sure you saw some of those. Meanwhile, the county government says construction of an ECD center is underway at the school in order to ease the burden.
On Thursday, photos circulating online showed some people sitting and others standing on bricks which have submerged in water due to the ongoing rains. Children in parts of Kilifi County are making do with some of the most horrifying surroundings that they still somehow proudly call school. The school, which was identified as Mangororo Primary School, is located in Jaribuni Ward, Ganze Sub-County. To ease the burden, construction of a new ECD center in the school is underway.
Kwamba leo yule contractor yuko kwa site na anaendelea na mjengo ule kuona kwamba utakamilika haraka iwezekanavyo.
Bado tunahitaji msaada zaidi upande wa madarasa yale ya upper primary, kwa sababu kwa sasa tuko na madarasa mawili peke yake ya kudumu na hatuna madawati. Yale madarasa mengine matatu hali yake ni dhaifu na wanafunzi wanaketi kwa mawe.
The education function remains under the national government. The only aspects of this that have been devolved are pre-primary education.
Ama wale viongozi ambao katika ngazi ya county, wale MCA wetu na wale viongozi ambao katika ngazi ya kitaifa, wabunge wetu, ni vipi tutaweza kuboresha yale majengo kule mbele ili watoto wetu wasije wakawa wanaenda katika hali ya kusikitika.
But as NTV found out, more than 30 schools in Ganze constituency are in a sorry state. Overcrowded classrooms, crumbling ceilings and cracked walls characterize the conditions under which many children in public schools learn. In many areas, it is a case of absence of infrastructure as children sit on the floor or on stones and logs. Ganze MP Teddy Mwambire has blamed leadership from the previous administration, saying there was no proper planning. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has, however, expressed concern about the existing dilapidated infrastructure in majority of the primary schools in Kilifi.
Whether schools are private or public, those standards must be met. If the schools are public schools, the government will ensure, because it registered them, will ensure that the schools are brought to the standard that we want. If the schools are private, we have given them time to get to the minimum. If they do not get to the minimum, we shall suspend their registration.
The county government says it will allocate funds in the next financial year for construction of another classroom. Ruzongoi, NTV.
Now, detectives in Kisumu County have launched investigations into the mysterious death of a Form 1 student at Kisumu Girls Secondary School. The student, Anastasia Chepkoech, is reported to have died in the school before being taken to Kisumu District Hospital by her teachers. Confirming the incident, Benson Maweu, the Kisumu County Commander, promised to conduct a thorough investigation to ascertain what could have led to her death. However, the students claim that the principal is always harsh and never takes them seriously when they complain about being unwell.
She had fallen sick for around six to 7 days. That they woke up, she was in good conditions. She joined the morning preps with the others, but unfortunately at 6:30, it is that very time when the other colleagues saw that she was somehow weak, she was unable to walk. Then they informed the matron, who assisted them, and then they took her to that hospital, where immediately on arrival she was pronounced dead.
Now to another story about a death case. Senior Principal Magistrate Teresia Nyongena will next Friday once again convene court to hear why City Lawyer Asa Nyakundi, who is charged with the murder of his son, should be released back to his family pending trial. Today, Nyakundi's lawyers put up a spirited fight in court to convince the magistrate that the murder suspect needs to be home with his wife and children and that he is not guaranteed proper care while in custody. The prosecutor, however, opposed the move and criticized the wife for attempting to get him out of custody instead of finding justice for his dead son. And as NTV's Ken Mijungu reports, the family has also a bone to pick with the media.
At the hearing of the application to have manslaughter charges against Asa Nyakundi dropped, a bitter exchange between the defense lawyers and the DPP. Nyakundi's lawyers pushing for the suspect to rejoin his family.
What you are doing to Mr. Nyakundi is wicked, is immoral, completely unacceptable. We can't destroy our family in this manner.
The reason, the magistrate had directed that Nyakundi should not live with his family for the duration of the trial. During the last court appearance, the lawyer is charged with manslaughter after killing his son, Joseph Nyakundi. The DPP wants the manslaughter charges done away with and fresh murder charges preferred. However, today, Nyakundi's family, through their lawyers, want him to be allowed to go back to their Muthaiga home where he had been banned from setting foot.
This is a mother who carried a child for 9 months. Any mother would want to know what exactly happened to her child. She should then be allowing the DPP and the DCI to exhaust all avenues to ensure that justice is done to her child, Joseph Nyakundi.
But Nyakundi's lawyers, led by John Haminwa, say on the strength of the application from the wife, who is one of the witnesses, Nyakundi should be free and back in his matrimonial home as the case continues.
That a person suffering from diabetes should never be in custody. Requires a special diet, requires a special meal cooked by his wife.
The defense also took issue with the DPP, who they accuse of using the media to release statements that also paint the Nyakundi family in bad light.
Nation has not been enjoined, I believe it's the Nation News, has not been enjoined, and they cannot be condemned without being heard. If they are aggrieved, they need to make an appropriate application before the appropriate court for determination and serve the parties. They cannot be adjudged in their absence.
Nyakundi's wife and son are some of the witnesses listed in the case. The defense opposed the DPP's application to have manslaughter charges against Nyakundi dropped, saying it's a ploy to rearrest Nyakundi and charge him with murder. The matter will be heard next week Friday. Ken Mijungu, NTV.
Now, for city lawyer and law scholar Tom Ojienda, the race for the Law Society of Kenya male representative to the Judicial Service Commission was a sure win. Ojienda had done all it took to win the race, from an aggressive campaign to endless battles with the government, some taking him to court. But that win became elusive. So what could have gone wrong for the senior counsel, and what does the loss mean to him when in his run-ins with the government, whose agencies have vowed to bring him to book for what they term as injustices that he is responsible for? NTV's Silas Apollo has that report.
Ushindi itakuwa kwangu. We've done our best, na naamini kuwa wafuasi wamekuja. Wafuasi wenye wanaamini kuwa tunahitaji judiciary yenye uhuru.
Professor Tom Ojienda just hours into the vote, confident he would win in the race to become the lawyer's male representative in the Judicial Service Commission. From mounting an aggressive campaign that involved initiative to win the hearts of the over 10,000 lawyers who form part of the LSK, to fighting off the Kenya Revenue Authority, which wanted him barred for evading tax, the law professor fought in determined fashion, managing to convince the LSK through a court order to clear him for the race. He appeared for all the intents and purposes, the front runner, and with a wide margin.
Nimekuwa mkubwa mawakili miaka mingi. Nimekuwa president ya Law Society, president East Africa Law Society, vice president Pan Africa. Nimekuwa na hizi vyo vyote na nimekuwa nikihudumia mawakili kwa miaka mingi.
Surprisingly though, he was beaten by Njeru Macharia, the soft-spoken former chairman of the Independent Police Oversight Authority, with a margin of 196 votes.
I urge all of us that we take it with humility, knowing that we are one profession. We do not want to divide our profession. And more importantly, we want to not only have that declaration of results very soon, but to also get into the business of ensuring that we can get to JSC and do the right thing.
Some lawyers say that Njeru's win was partly pegged on his performance while at the helm of IPOA and his easygoing and humble demeanor, which resonated with the young lawyers. Some have linked Ojienda's loss to what they termed as his failure to speak to the core issues facing lawyers while serving his term as a commissioner at the JSC. To some, it was his arrogance that played against him and the fact that he bullied LSK to clear him to run.
Judiciary iwe ya kwamba inafanya kazi bila kuegemea upande wote, ikiwa independent, bila kushurutishwa na mtu yoyote, na pia kuhakikisha kwamba mambo ya rushwa, hongo na makatel, particularly kwa upande wa makatel, inaondolewa.
Ojienda had claimed he would win because of the good work he did.
Nafanyia watu kazi na huwa wananichagua. Naamini hata leo watanichagua.
The law scholar has over the past months had several run-ins with the police and the Kenya Revenue Authority, who have accused him of evading tax running to over 400 million shillings. Ojienda had last December spent a weekend in police custody after he was arrested in a case relating to corruption dealings at the Mumias Sugar Company. KRA had also refused to issue him with a tax clearance certificate, a decision he says was calculated to sabotage his bid to be voted as the lawyer's male representative in JSC. And in his petition filed in court, lawyer Mark Ndungu had accused LSK of having breached the Constitution and the LSK Act when it approved Ojienda's candidature for the election without a tax compliance requirement. The High Court cleared him to run after a protracted legal battle, which also divided the LSK leadership. During the LSK AGM on the 30th of March, a majority of lawyers present did away with the requirement for tax compliance and held clearance in what were viewed as the Ojienda amendments. It also did not save Ojienda from the finality of the vote by a larger group of fellow lawyers. Silas Apollo, NTV.
From that story, let's take our first short break on NTV Weekend Edition. We still have more, including business and sports. Don't go too far. the broadcast. Now, a section of Pangani Estate residents who live in county houses have raised queries over the compensation given by the Nairobi County government to leave county houses as the affordable housing project kicks off. The residents say the 600,000 shillings meant to cater for 10 months' rent is not enough. They are also demanding a guarantee that they will be considered first when the affordable housing project is complete. NTV's Helen Aura with those details.
The county government wants to construct the first 1,500 affordable housing units in Pangani, but a rift among Pangani residents is likely to create the first serious challenge. Majority of these residents have called this place home for years, as it houses 48 families. They have been asked to vacate the county houses where they paid 10,000 shillings per month to pave way for the new construction. The county government has stated that each tenant will be given a cheque worth 600,000 shillings as compensation to pay for rent where they choose to relocate to. The county government is set to finish the construction within 2 years, where a house would cost 3 million shillings, payable within 30 years. However, this group alleges that they do not have any guarantees that they will be considered first once the project is complete.
This time of era of time, what is the 600 for? Being given me 1,000 for. I cannot be given 600,000 for nothing. What is it for? So we think they are just telling us we move out so that they get hold of their houses. And me, in the present Nairobi here in Pangani, for 24 months is 25,000. There is no house for 25,000 at Pangani.
We don't refuse that we don't come out. It is government houses. But we want to know what is our right. Like we lived here for 50 years, 60 years. So what they will give us behalf of these houses. And everything we want it, like official in writing.
The residents say the contractor has indicated the project would be complete in 1 year, while the county government says it will be 2 years of work. They insist the 600,000 shillings would not house them for 2 years. In a meeting that was held yesterday at City Hall between the governor and a few residents from Pangani Estate, he assured them that they will be the first to be considered once the houses are complete. It is reported that a few of the residents have already taken their checks.
Extremely happy to our governor, Bwana Mike Sonko, for appreciating us by giving us a share-off of 600,000 to be able to make us get some houses for us to live while they do the development.
Residents claim that they are not against the development, but they feel they are being shortchanged and want the government to listen to their woes. Helen Aura, NTV.
Now, from one tussle to another, and the Council of Governors will not appear before the Senate and are calling on the Director of Criminal Investigations to investigate the 2 sets of contradicting financial reports in the 11 counties and make it public. The Council of Governors is now asking its members to ignore any summons by the Senate Public Accounts and Investments Committee over the 2017-2018 audit queries until investigations into the reports are complete. They added that several county government functions might be crippled starting July this year after the National Assembly went on recess without resolving the issue of a disagreement over 9 billion shillings meant to be allocated to counties, which the National Assembly has declined to pass despite the Senate's insistence on disbursement.
Kuna bajeti za serikali kuu ziko katika mahesabu yetu, kama mambo ya watu wanajenga reli, watu wanatoa hela kwa matumizi ya State House, na masuala hayo hayakuwa katika mahesabu yale tulipata kutoka mkurugenzi mkuu wa fedha wa serikali, Auditor General.
It is only after the county government of Kiambu appeared before the Senate Committee on Public Accounts and Investment that the anomaly was highlighted, and thereafter the counties realized that the national government's budget lines had been included into the county government accounts. The Council of Governors has also resolved that on this particular issue of the audited accounts of the financial year 2017-2018, they will not appear before the Senate until the matter is resolved by the Director of Criminal Investigation. And we have officially notified the Speaker of the Senate.
Now, Chuka OCS Joseph Kinyua was hacked to death last week while effecting an arrest on a suspect believed to have killed Kamaindi Location Chief Mayao Mukengu has been laid to rest at his home in Kayamariga in Nyeri County. Senior police officers attending the burial, led by Deputy Inspector General Mbugwa, eulogized the late Kinyua as a hardworking man who was dedicated to his work. Officers said they would not relent in tackling crime despite the unfortunate incident witnessed in Embu County, which they admitted had shaken the police force. The officer was killed after he and two of his colleagues cornered the suspect at Ugweri Market in Embu East, where the suspect operated a butchery. The late Kinyua is survived by a widow and 5 children. Now may his soul rest in peace. Now, hundreds of Muslims attended prayers on the first Friday of the holy fasting month of Ramadan. Muslims regard Ramadan as a holy month and a time of fasting, devotion, and charity.
Muslim faithful take time to pray during the Jummah prayers on the first Friday of the month of Ramadan at Jamia Mosque. The first Friday is considered as one of the most important days in Islam. Friday has its own general significance in Islam. However, the holy month of Ramadan makes it extremely pure. On this day, Muslims attend the prayers followed by the sermons, which is keenly listened to. Nearly 2 billion Muslims around the world mark the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan on Monday. The first day of Ramadan, the holiest month for Muslims, is observed according to the local visibility of the new crescent moon. Muslims around the world will be fasting every day for a month, refraining from eating, drinking, and smoking from sunrise to sunset.
Tunafanya mazoezi ya kuvifundisha viungo vishari. Kuna viungo katika mwili vimetulia, lakini kuna viungo ni vishari, viko mbele: ulimi, macho, masikio, miguu, mikono na kadhalika.
It is a month of self-discipline and empathy for those living in poverty.
Binadamu anasahau wakati akiwa na neema, wakati akiwa anacho, wakati akiwa amefanikiwa. Anawasahau wenzake. Kwa hivi sisi tukifanikiwa, tukiwa hatujafanikiwa, tupate siku moja ya kuzuia tusile, inatupa kuwakumbuka wengine.
Muslim leaders in Eldoret, led by Sheikh Abu Bakar Bini, distributed food rations to the less fortunate members of Muslim community. Each beneficiary received a 5-kilo bag of maize flour, 5 kilos of rice, and 2-kilo packets of wheat flour. The Sheikh asked Muslims to pray for peace in the country, especially during the holy month. As one of the 5 pillars of Islam, fasting during Ramadan is accompanied by increased spiritual reflection, worship, and acts of charity. Helen Wanjohi, NTV.
Ramadan Kareem to our Muslim brothers and sisters. And our business news anchors Julian Samboko and Dan Mwangi are out of the office on very, very special assignments. So I'll be covering the business after this break.
Oh, you've got me on my knees. Yeah, I'm begging, baby, please.
48 megapixel Oppo F11 Pro. Brilliant portrait in low light.
Introducing this week's super duper winner.
Nilikuwa na relax tu nyumbani. Sasa nikajaribu. Alafu nasema hii namba 5 imepaki. Naweza kupoteza kweli. Nikacheza mara ya kwanza, siku hiyo inafuata nikacheza tena, alafu wakaniambia umewin. Sikuamini. Hiyo pesa niko na mpango ninunue ploti yangu. Mambo ni super na super 5.
Hii ndio njia rahisi ya kufeel super. Enda nyumbani na mara 10,000 ya pesa ulizowekeza, shinda. Ukilinganisha namba 2, 3 au 4. Linganisha namba 5, ushinde shilingi milioni 10 in the next 10 minutes.
And county governments have locked horns over the recent budget mix-up that saw a number of governors bashed online and offline for questionable expenditures in their budgets, while the National Treasury has admitted to the mix-up in the Integrated Financial Management Information Systems, that's IFMIS. Some governors smell foul play in the saga.
When he relaunched the IFMIS system in 2011, then as the country's finance minister, and later in 2014 as the head of state, President Uhuru Kenyatta hailed it as the ultimate solution to misappropriation of public funds. But nearly a decade later, the system has been at the center of the loss of billions of shillings through a number of glaring errors, the latest being the erroneous appearance of typical national government items in budgets of at least 8 counties.
At best, IFMIS has been configured inappropriately. Dr. Thuge and his minister are admitting to print or get reports out of it that are completely erroneous, that refer to items that are normally in the national government.
Despite admitting to the anomalies, Treasury argues that the counties used wrong formats to record their financial statements, claims strongly rebuffed by governors.
The report shouldn't even exist in the first place. So the fact that it exists, there needs to be an explanation. What is it doing there? Because reports are designed, there shouldn't be a report that has a county name and has functions of national government.
In February this year, Auditor General Edward Ouko admitted that the IFMIS system is inefficient and that it often generates inaccurate information.
IFMIS is a good system, but it has a lot of problems. And in my view, to make IFMIS work properly, we need to differentiate between a system for the national government and the IFMIS system for the county governments.
Since 2015, the IFMIS system has been used to perpetrate the 5 billion shillings Affair House scandal and the 11 billion shillings NYS1 and NYS2 scandals, leaving many wondering whether the technology is the solution, the problem, or the catalyst. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business, Nairobi.
Now, the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation is seeking to introduce a new criteria for banks to pay their premiums and has hit the ground running to lay a foundation for that move. KDIC says the new method will promote equity in the way the banks pay their premiums, shifting from the current method where both large and small banks pay the same amount of premium. Here's Alex Mwangi with more on the shift from a flat rate premium to a risk-based kind.
Among financial institutions, the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation is the apex body when it comes to safeguarding depositors' funds in case a bank suffers any form of misfortune. I sought to find out what effect the proposed changes it has for banks will have on Wanjiko.
It's going to reduce, it's going to mitigate bank closures. I know Kenyans are worried. There were banks which were closed the other day and all that. We want to tell Kenyans, sit back, don't put any money under the mattress, bring all your money to the banks.
By shifting to a risk-based premium regime, Kenya will join Nigeria and Uganda as the other African countries pursuing the new model.
We are planning to roll out this thing July 2020. It will bring equity because currently bigger banks and smaller banks are being charged the same amount, and bigger banks are investing heavily, maybe in risk management framework. So there's a bit of inequity in it. So now we're charging 0.15, but we are saying this flat rate seems not to be giving the banks that incentive to also to do a self-assessment of themselves.
The flat rate premium of 0.15% that banks pay currently is based on the total average deposits, which are considered as a liability for the bank. The law allows KDIC to charge up to 0.4%.
Banks now will have to work on their risk framework, the risk frameworks in the bank, to make sure that they are not charged higher on the premium. And it kind of brings discipline into the bank. It was started by FDIC of America in 1993. There are about 50 countries who are already moved to risk-based premium, and 35 others are on the way to move into that.
With banks still smarting from the imposition of the interest rate cap, which had a significant impact on their bottom line, KDIC has its work cut out to convince them, and especially the bigger ones, that they might need to fork out a little more towards safeguarding depositors' funds. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Now, the plan to construct and rehabilitate 80 kilometers of roads across 10 counties is set to come to fruition. This follows the signing of 2 public-private partnership agreements between the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, that's KURA, and the 3 companies from South Africa. The roads, which are in western and central Kenya counties, will be developed in the next 10 years. Speaking at the signing of the agreement, Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia said the construction will cost the government over 13 billion shillings, which will be drawn from the annuity fund.
The contract is 10 years, 2 years construction period, and 8 years maintenance period. And at the end of the 8 years, they are supposed to hand over to us the road at no cost, with what you call no residual value of around 8 years. So there's a kind of hand over to us a new road, and after 8 years.
There is a provision as provided in the Constitution to do an MOU between the county government and national government, whereby one level of government requests support from another level of government. So there is that actually provision in the Constitution. And so for this one, yes, they are classified under KURA because they fall under that category, A, B, and C.
Now, Kenyans are slowly embracing renewable energy to power their homes in a bid to ease the high cost of living. After futile efforts to get connected to the national grid, a section of residents from Busia County have decided to tap into solar energy to power their homes. This happens as a giant flower exporting company, Oserian Development, launched a solar energy power plant to power its operations. Lilian Kerie with more details.
These solar panels have provided a facelift for many villages in Busia County. The residents here who live on meager earnings say the high cost of connectivity has left them in the dark for many years.
Gharama za stima iko juu, ikichelewa kidogo wanakuja kata, malipo yako juu.
This new affordable energy has lit up their homes.
Watoto wanaosoma inawasaidia kwa wakiwa wamepewa kazi zao za kuangalia vitabu wakati wa jioni wakiwa wamerudi shuleni.
Hapa kwetu Nyabola village tuko connected na solar. Stima ni huko town.
With the cost of power ranked as one of the factors that add to the high cost of doing business in Kenya, Naivasha-based flower farm Oserian Development Company has launched a solar energy power plant with a capacity to generate 1 megawatts. The farm has been running on 2.5 megawatts of geothermal, which it started producing in 2003 and now boasts of fully running under green energy.
The result of our green energy and our ability to now charge more vehicles than we were doing before has taken 300,000 litres of diesel out of our budget in the first year.
Lilian Kiarie, NTV.
One final thing in the business. Kenya is one of the world's hotspots for aflatoxins, with possibly the worst incidence of contamination ever documented. Since 2004, the country has suffered severe outbreaks of illness from aflatoxins, with hundreds of people falling ill due to poisoning. But as Zainab Wandati reports on Food Friday, scientists have developed a product known as Aflasafe KE01 to be used in the farms to prevent aflatoxin contamination.
Aflatoxin poisoning continues to be a major food safety concern in Kenya, with an estimated 70% of the population said to have been exposed to contaminated food. In fact, in 2014, nearly 200 people died from aflatoxin poisoning, and since then, scientists have been working to find a solution to this problem, and that solution is finally here. Hola Irrigation Scheme in Tana River County is one of the oldest irrigation schemes in the country, but it is a scheme whose farmers have battled aflatoxin and won. In 2009, when the scheme harvested its first crop after 20 years of inactivity, nearly 90% of the 60,000 bags harvested tested positive for aflatoxin.
Ingawaje wakulima waliendelea kulima, lakini walikuwa wamevunjika moyo kwa sababu hiyo production tulikuwa tumepata wakati huo wingi wake ulikuwa haufai kwa matumizi ya chakula.
The impact of aflatoxin have been very negative because the first crop which was produced was rejected by award the WFP.
Katika magunia hayo 38 ambayo nilikuwa nimezalisha, nafikiria zaidi ya 60% yake inaweza kusema kwamba haikuweza kufaa kwa chakula.
Aflatoxin is a toxic chemical produced as a byproduct of molds that grow on maize, groundnuts, and other food crops. These molds occur naturally in the soil all over the world, but pose particularly high risks in tropical developing countries where grains, especially maize and sorghum, are staple foods.
As we move maize production from the traditional highland areas to hotter climates under irrigation, the biggest challenge is how to manage aflatoxin contamination.
Scientists have developed a biological control product known as Aflasafe KE01, which is applied in the field 2 weeks before flowering. It works by the aflatoxin deficient strains displacing the toxin producing strains in the soil, thereby reducing the source of contamination.
Mwaka uliofuatia tukapata mazao, tulikuwa tumekuwa funded wakati huo na Agricultural Finance Corporation, na tukazalisha ekari zaidi ya 2,500, ambapo katika ekari hizo hakuna hata sehemu yoyote ya mashamba ambayo ilipatikana na aflatoxin.
The manufacturing plant in Katumani currently has a capacity to produce 10 tons per day, but it is modular, meaning that the capacity can be stretched as needed.
2 kilograms goes for 275 shillings. And that's 2 kilograms is enough for a quarter of an acre.
To use Aflasafe, a farmer requires to apply 4 kilos per acre.
We are working with Kenya Seed and Kenya Farmers Association, who have a very big distribution network in the country, so that when farmers are purchasing seed, they can be able to purchase also Aflasafe at the same time.
The production cost of Aflasafe is 85 shillings per kilo, mostly because the cost of sorghum as a substrate is high. The scientists are experimenting with maize waste as a substrate alternative, which, if successful, will lower the cost of the bioproduct on the shelf. Zainab Wandati, NTV, for Food Friday.
That's NTV Business Tonight, but the special assignments I was talking about Dan Mwangi and Julian Samboko, is that the two have separately been born of daughters. Congratulations to them, but gentlemen, the timing was quite uncanny. You've made me do your work here tonight, but congratulations nonetheless. Let's take another break. When we come back, we have Bullseye.
Crunchy peanuts, smooth caramel, creamy chocolate, and nougat. You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
Weekend edition. Just one more thing to do before we get into the sports. Now, politicians, it seems, are beginning to make the DPP, DCI and EACC's job of tracking down the thieves even easier. Blinded by their desire to destroy each other, they are spilling the beans and even declaring their wealth almost voluntarily. The pull him down attitude adopted by politicians is good for investigators, and as Emmanuel Juma reports on Bullseye, the women are standing up to be counted.
Sifuna. Sheria ya chama cha ODM, mwenye kutunga sio Sifuna.
Mheshimiwa SG, kwa heshima zote, mahali ulipofikia hautaweza kuendelea. Kwa heshima zote. Hatuwezi.
Now, this is what's meant by stopping one in his or her tracks. And it will be written that on this day, Lady Aisha Jumwa got the better of the Bukusu man. You are beaten, Edwin.
As a Luya man, I was not taught how to answer women publicly. Siasa ya Kilifi ni siasa ya kuotea mbali.
And so is the woman.
Nataka munitafutie msichana hapa, mimi nataka kuwa bibi wa kutoka Kilifi. Lakini huyo msichana asikue dada ya Aisha, tutasumbuana.
Olochi, mimi ni mtu mkarimu sana. Sijui kwa nini ukatafute dadangu na mimi niko
Just who could be Aisha Jumwa's match at Holy Baby?
Hiyo hata sio test yangu. Hata nitaje namna gani? Na mjajua, mkitaka kumjua, mumpime na rula. Hana kiuno. Hana.
Mr. Toli, type yako naijua mimi. Wewe umezoea kupeleka mashine ya Probox vyetu, utaeleza wapi?
That's a day in Kenya's politics. A very painful affair, I tell you. But the pain cannot match what Waititu felt when he appeared before the Senate committee.
It is only appearing as a template because I don't know where they came from.
A very bad day in the office for Baba Yao. What happened?
Wameingiza hiyo karatasi katika ripoti yetu.
Well, maybe not. But Commander thinks otherwise.
Within a very short time, there will not be a governor in Kiambu. The deputy governor will take over. Na haitakuwa ni kifo, mtu atakuwa jera.
But why is that?
Yeye atueleze. 2 houses in Runda, 3 houses in town. What miracle?
Vaga.
He's saying Baba Yao has been eating where he is not sown. Why Titu? Can you declare your wealth?
Siku ingine mtu aniulize nitembeze nikuoneshe mali yangu. Nitaonesha, wengine watacommit suicide. Wakinijua.
Commander says the story is quite different.
Wewe utakuwa miujiza gani? Mimi sijafanya miaka 40. Miracle hiyo.
Yule mtu ambaye ana file ya Nairobi ya wakora wote wale wameiba Nairobi ni mimi. Commander ndiye aliuza extension ya Pumwani Hospital. Commander ndiye aliuza soko ya Mwarero. Commander ndiye aliuza soko hii hapa Mugingo. Commander aliuza bus station ya Isli. Uliza Commander nani aliuza depot ile ilikuwa na pika rami ya Nairobi yote.
This, I have to say, is a typical case of the pot calling the kettle black. Haji, Kinoti, your potential witnesses and suspects all in one package. And can you spot the deputy president? Here he was, among the very divine from the west of Kenya. And boy, this looks like a rehearsal of what to expect in heaven. Perhaps this is the earthly understanding of being surrounded by the glory. This is total protection. Not even Satan can penetrate.
Shetani akijaribu kufika hapo karibu tunamwambia riswa. Ama namna gani?
He wears many hats, this man. On this day, he was this, a member of the African Divine Church. On another day, he would be something close to an imam. On some occasions, just this, a bourgeois, a serious businessman. But when it really matters, he transforms to this, a kalasinga they call it. Or is it sing? And that is serious business.
Mtakuja huko?
Lakini sawa hata wewe utakuja.
Lakini na mbebe fare msikuje kusumbua watu Nairobi.
And you can also call him William, the hustling, budding comedian. And have you been following the politics around Sadaka and corruption?
Let us not allow Harambee monies to be a subtle way of sanitizing the corrupt leaders.
And then this showed up. The man of God receiving a very fat envelope.
Ole sapit, kama kweli sadaka ya politician ni chafu, ile 8 million yenye mheshimiwa alikuwekea kwa briefcase, wewe Ole sapit, rudisha hiyo pesa kwanza, ndio tujue hautaki pesa ya wanasiasa.
That calls for a change of strategy.
Hatujasema tumekataa pesa ya mtu yeyote, lakini tunasema tutoe kwa njia ambayo ni staarabu.
And you can expect even more excruciating pain as the days drag on. In the meantime, Kalwale has a new student in his one-legged dance class, and things are tight, my friend. Emmanuel Juma, Bullseye, NTV.
Things are really tight. As President Uhuru Kenyatta said at some point, haki ya Mungu ile upuzi iko hii Kenya. Acha tuseme riswa. Let's take another break. When we come back, Brian Otwal has the sports.
The Kenya Academy of Sports Council, through the chairperson Dr. Paul Tergat, invites you to the inaugural sports conference that will take place from the 20th to 22nd May 2019 at Crown Plaza Hotel, Nairobi. The Kenya Academy of Sports Council, through the chairperson Dr. Paul Tergat, invites you to the inaugural sports conference that will take place from the 20th to 22nd May 2019 at Crown Plaza Hotel, Nairobi. The theme of the conference is Transforming the World Through Sports. Exhibition stalls are available.
Women's volleyball team's technical bench is wary of the opposition they will face at the Zone 5 African Games qualifiers set to be held in Kampala, Uganda. Malkia Strikers will be boosted by the arrival of FIVB second head coach Shailene Ramdu, with a final 14-member squad expected to be named on Monday. The national women's volleyball team, who have been in training camp for a week now, will be seeking back-to-back All-Africa Games title when they begin the 2019 Zone 5 Africa Games qualifiers set for Kampala in a fortnight. Malkia Strikers won the title in 2015, ending a 16-year-long drought.
Yeah, I have been working on our backward defense, our service and reception. Those are the areas that we have been working on. Then our blocking. If we block well, that will be a plus to our side. And then we are working on team combination.
Opting for a blend of youth and experience, coach Jafet Munala's charges are wary of the opposition from perennial rivals Egypt and fast-rising hosts Uganda, as well as Rwanda. Tanzania and Burundi are the other teams in the qualifiers.
We are really going to work on how best they can coordinate and put a system how we are going to play. But I'm confident with the group that you're having here. They've gelled very well. The young players are doing so fine, and I'm hoping for the best.
Kenya Pipeline setters Esther Mutinda and Gladys Ekaru and their maiden call-ups and will be strengthened by experienced players led by Captain Mercy Moim, Jen Washu, Janet Wanja, Triza Tuka and Noel Murambi.
Ukicheza na wao ni watoto wako na ile bidii ya kumake. So wamekuja poa, mimi na wish all the best. Mwenye ata make all the best. Setter, she's good. Middle blocker ako tu sawa. So si complain about them. Wako tu sawa kwa walicheza Egypt.
You know, you have to learn from the ones who are ahead of you. Like Wanja and Washu, they are ahead of me. They have been here in volleyball. They have been in the national team for years. So I have to learn more from them. And I want to be better than them and better than they are.
The coaching staff comprising head coach Munala and his assistant Jos Baraza will be boosted by the arrival of FIVB coaching instructor Italian Shaleen Ramdu for a 3-month training ahead of Tokyo 2020 Olympics qualifications set for August in Italy.
Basically, he's coming to prepare the team for the Olympic qualification, which will be in August in Italy. So he'll be here for 3 months. So we expect him to touch down tomorrow, and then in the evening he'll have a meeting with the team so that we'll prepare on how well you can train. And we are hoping and believing he's also going to accompany the team to Uganda so that he sees how the team is playing and get 1 or 2 things and then come and prepare a program for himself.
The winner earns the sole ticket for the All Africa Games finals to be held in Morocco in August. And it is down to the final 4 in the Kenya Cup, with KCB hosting Kenya Harlequins at the KCB Sports Club in Ruaraka, and Stanbic Mwamba head to Kakamega for the match against league leaders Kabras Sugar. Defending champions KCB are making their 7th appearance in the semi-finals as they chase after their 4th final in 5 seasons. Kabras, who were unbeaten in the regular season, start as favourites against Kulabu as they seek to secure a home Kenya Cup final in Kakamega. The Kenya Cup winners will walk away with $1 million prize money. Meanwhile, Kenya's under-20 rugby team Chipu is in pool of death at the 2019 World Rugby Under-20 trophy slated for July in Brazil. The new African champions will face 2008 winners Uruguay, 2014 and 2017 champions Japan, plus the winner in the Americas North qualifier pitting Canada and USA. Chipu stand heavyweights Namibia 21-18 in the African qualifier, the Bathurst Trophy Cup in April. And Chelsea coach Maurizio Sarri is looking forward to seeing off the challenge of fellow EPL side Arsenal and bagging his first title.
studio because the trend is coming up in a short while with Amina Abdi Rabar. I'll see you again tomorrow night when we'll cover the day's top stories and some other fun stuff, stories you do not want to miss. Bye-bye. My name is Edmond.
Have a lovely night.
Karibuni to watch and win, the only TV station ambayo tunasema ni NTV, ambapo una watch na una shida. Si kushida ukiwatch TV, kushida zawadi. Mimi ni Joroge
and I'm Tracy Wanjiru. Na hizi zawadi ambazo tunaongea kuhusu. We've been giving away 2,500 shillings vouchers every single day, and on Monday we gave away a trip to Mombasa to one of our viewers, courtesy of Bonfire Adventures. And Joroge behind the scenes was telling me about the UEFA Championships.
Oh yes.
How you guys are so excited to watch it. So can you imagine watching it
kwa TV yako?
Kikubwa.
Kipote inch. Kinene. TV. Gigi TV. Guess what? Tunaona wanyama na tunaona mtu anaitwa Origi hapo. Leo kuna washindi wawili ambao wanaponyoka na TV.
So we'll start with our first two winners of the two brand new TVs.
Tunangojea nini? Bonyeza TV, mtu ajionea UEFA akiwa kwake.
Simply look out for questions every hour on what you have watched. The questions will be as easy as ABC.
Alafu unachukua simu yako, reply 1 or 2 ukianza na word win to 20686. SMS hailipishwi. Endelea kuwatch, ugoje kushinda.
If you are the lucky winner, you will receive a call from 0719038866.
Kumbuka, sheria na masharti inafuatiliwa.
Congratulations to all our lucky winners. Na kama mimi ningekuwa wewe nyumbani, I want to participate because all the shopping vouchers worth 2,500, the trips in Kenya and the grand prize in Dubai, courtesy of Bonfire Adventures, could be yours. And all you need to do
is to watch. Ile yote mimi nataka tu sana sana. TV ninaweza jinunulia. Shopping nimesema nitajifanyia, lakini mimi nimesema Dubai.
Lazima.
Mji mkuu Dubai wa UAE. Hapa Burj Khalifa nitasimama. Na unajua, si ati unaenda peke yako, wewe na umpendaye. Na si siku moja mabili, siku ni 5. Courtesy of Bonfire Adventures. Kwani ni nini ingine hii?
Exactly. Very, very simple. From myself, Tracy Wanjiru.
Oh yes, me, myself and I, mtu kama Joroge.
We want to say goodbye and keep watching NTV and stand a chance to win all our fantastic prizes.
Oh yes.
Happy Friday.